Okay, since doing one example was already pretty confusing and doing these other ones was a little confusing, I assume it is. It's actually really, really easy once you do get it, but it's confusing at first. Because it could be a little tricky, I'm going to do some examples based off of exactly what you're going to see in your homework. The same exact page, I'm just going to do the examples I'm not giving to you. Okay, so before we do that, we need to be able to read the instructions. Write each expression, which is this part, that's an expression, in radical form. Radical is a new word, and you need to write this word down. A radical is the root. It's the root symbol. There's another piece to know, and that's the radicand is the type of root. This number out here is the radicand. And then the number on the inside is going to be the base still. This is still the base. We are going to either change the numbers with the exponent into the radical form, or we're going to change the radical form back to using an exponent. We can start with number 1. Number 1 has 8 times x to the 1/2 power. There are two ways you can do this one. You could either distribute the power of 1/2 to both of those to get 8 to the 1/2, x to the 1/2, or the easier way to see it is these two numbers are just going to be grouped together. So that means whatever happens to one is going to be the same thing that happens to the other because they came in a nice little package of parentheses. So the 1/2 means the power is going to be 1, the root is going to be 2, and what's going to go inside is 8x. 8x to the 1/2 power means the square root of 8x to the first power, but since it's the first power, it doesn't matter. You don't have to put that first power ever again, only if it's a different number in the numerator. Okay, let's try number 2. 6z to the 1/2 power. Did these two come together in a package, or is it just 6 times z to the 1/2? I don't see any parentheses on there, so that means that this 1/2 is only going to the z. So that means the 6 is going to stay regular. Z is being raised to the 1/2, so that means since there's a 2 on the bottom, that's going to be the square root of z. You could put the power of 1 on the outside, but that won't change anything, so I'm not going to put it there. You could put it there at the start and then just erase it if you want. Number 3, 19, the square root of 19. Okay, so there is one more thing to know here. If there is no number written on the radical, like this, that means do the square root. Well, just make sure that you write that note down that I just made. If there is no number written on the radical, like square root of 4, that means do the square root. And number 3, there is no number written here, so that means that this is the square root of 19. That means that we have 19 to the power of 1, but having a root of 2. The square root of 19 is the same thing as 19 to the 1/2 power. I'll do a few more difficult ones. The square root of 13 ABC. Since they didn't put any multiplication signs in this, that's why I know that it's 13. So this is 13. And look, all of these are all under that square root. They are all coming together. in a nice package because they are all being square rooted. And that means, and if you look, there is no power written, so that means that it's a power of 1, and it's a square root, so it's a root of 2. So it's 13 ABC, all in parentheses, to the 1/2 power. If you see a number other than the number 1, then you just take that number, 3125, put it in parentheses, and it doesn't have a power, so the root is going to be to the 1/5 power. One over 32 to the 1/5 power. That means 1 over 32 is the number, and it's going to go inside of a root. This top number means a power of 1, and the bottom number means a root of 5, or the 5th root. So we have the 5th root of 1 over 32.